Hi everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we're making this adorable polar bear cup cozy. I actually don't have a cup with me right now, I don't know why, but it slides right on your travel mug or your cup that you are drinking a hot beverage in, and you can keep your hands nice and safe and not burn them, and drink in style with this cute little polar bear. So I'll get into the supplies we need, and then I'll get into making this cute little project here. So big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing this yarn today. We're using for our main color the Scrubby Smoothie yarn, which is 100% cotton, and you aren't going to need a whole lot. So I just got one skein of this, and you can see how much is left over. It's so much, so you don't need a whole lot, just scraps of this. And this is Scrubby Smoothie. It is 100% cotton, and the color I'm using is just called white. And then we're also going to need a little tiny bit of Super Saver in this dusty gray color, and also in black. Again, Red Heart Yarns, this is Super Saver. So you can see on the cup cozy, for black we use it for the eyes, nose, and mouth, and then the little tiny bit of gray is just the back of the nose. But the main color and everything is the Scrubby Smoothie in white. So those are the yarns. You're going to need a G-sized hook, which is 4.25 millimeters. This fancy hook is from the Etsy shop, Would Be Fancy. It is super fabulous. It is hand carved and ergonomic. And it's a crochet handle that has your crochet hook fixed in there. Check it out at the Etsy shop, Would Be Fancy. I'll put the link in the description of this video. You can get this type of hook and ones very similar to it at that shop. They're really awesome. So we're going to use a G hook in this tutorial. And also a scissors and a yarn needle will help you cut your yarn and sew things on, the appliques on, and sew things together and sew in your ends. So those are all the supplies we're going to need. Big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing this yarn. Big thank you to my dad back there over my shoulder for filming this tutorial, and a big thank you to you for watching. If you have any questions about this project, check out the links in the description of this video. It will take you to the written pattern, which is free on my website, YARNutopia.com. And there's links to Facebook, Instagram, my Snapchat, all that stuff is in the description of this video as well, so you can follow me and write to me anywhere on those social media sites. And make sure to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. So easy. This is going to be so much fun. Let's get started and make this polar bear cup cozy. Alright, we're going to start out with the Scrubby Smoothie in white, and we're going to make a slip knot. We're going to make the cup cozy part first. So put your short end over your long end, then fold this down, and then pull your long end through and pull tight. Okay? Insert your hook, and we can start. So let's start off by chaining 34, or chain any even number that will fit around the cup that you're going to work or use this on. So chain 34. So yarn over, pull through, 1, yarn over, pull through, 2, 3. I won't make you watch me chain 34. So just chain 34 in the, or however many you need to, an even number. And I'll come back for row 1. Alright, here's what my chain looks like. So now what we're going to do, without twisting anything, we are going to bring this chain back to the beginning, right back to our hook here, and we're going to single crochet into the very first chain here. And what I like to do, let me get this straggler out of here, let me show you. I usually turn my chain toward me like this, so you can see these back ridges of the chain, and that's what I like to work into. So I'm going to go into this first chain right here, and then we're going to single crochet. So we yarn over and pull it through that chain, and then we have 2 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through both of those loops on our hook, and that's a single crochet. And we're going to work in continuous rounds, so if you needed to, mark this stitch as your first stitch, or you don't have to, because you can see your straggler is right here, your slip knot right there, so you'll know that that is the beginning of our round. But what we're going to do is chain 1, and then skip the next chain, and we're going to single crochet into the next chain right here. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and we're going to do that all the way around this chain. So chain 1, skip the next chain, and then single crochet into the next chain. Okay, then chain 1, skip the next chain, and then go into this next chain right here for a single crochet. And do that all the way around, and then once I have gone all the way around for round 1, I'll come back and show you how to do round 2. Alright, we've come all the way around here, so you can see this is my last single crochet in the last chain right there. I know it's stretched up, but that's what it looks like. And then this is our first stitch right here. Okay, so what we're actually going to do for rounds 2 through 14, we are going to chain 1 after our stitch. Make sure to always chain 1 after your single crochet. And we're going to work into the chain 1 spaces. Okay, so we're not working into the single crochets, we're working into the chain 1 spaces here. So we're going to go into the chain 1 space, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to single crochet into the chain 1 spaces. And we're going to chain 1, skip the stitch, go into the chain 1 space, and single crochet. Okay, then chain 1, skip the stitch, go into the chain 1 space, and single crochet. And we're going to do that all the way around, and then we're going to do it for the next rounds up until we have 14 rounds. And you just work in continuous rounds, okay, all the way around. Just keep going until you have 14 rows. So you can see here's row 1 and row 2. Okay, so row 1, row 2, we'll have 3, 4, 5, etc., etc., all the way up until we have 14 rounds. Or if you want to make it more, if you want to do it, like make it wider, you can keep going, you know, do 20 if you want to. It'll be a bigger face on your piece, and a wider type of, I guess, polar bear type of cup cozy, which is totally cool. So you can make as many rows as you want, but I'm going to end on row 14, and I'll come back once I do, or once I finish row 14, and then we'll go on to the next step. Alright, I just finished round 14, so this is what your work should look like right now. And I forgot to mention that this is actually the moss stitch, so it looks really nice just working in the chain 1 spaces. So to fasten this part off, if your cup cozy is as wide as you want it to be, we're going to actually chain 1 after our last stitch and go into the next chain 1 space like we are making a stitch, but we're going to slip stitch in there. So yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook, and then chain 1, and we're going to fasten this off. So let me grab my scissors and pull that all the way through and pull tight. Okay, and we're going to grab our yarn needle right away and sew in these ends, and then we can make the embellishments. But if you want just a regular cup cozy that's just plain, you can be done at this point. Oh, I think my yarn needle is a little too small. Oh well, we'll make it work. But yeah, you could have like a plain cup cozy. You can make these in all different colors, or you can make it striped if you wanted to, and just have this as your cup cozy. But as you can see here, I'm just sewing in this end, hiding it away, and then we can cut the extra. Snip that off, just like that. Okay, so I'll sew that one in at the top there. But this is the front of our cup cozy, and this is where we will have the face of our polar bear. So let's grab some more of this white yarn. We're going to make the ears next. So let's get that right away. So I'm setting all that aside, and we're going to make the ears. So let's make a slip knot. Okay, insert your hook, and we're going to chain 2. So yarn over, pull through, 1 and 2. And in the second chain from the hook, we're going to put 8 single crochets. So go into that second chain right here, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there's 1, go back into that same chain, yarn over and pull that through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. There's 2. Here's 3, 4, 5. It's going to be pretty tight in here. 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so you can kind of see it's kind of a circular form. Okay, and what we're going to do next, let's see here, it says to work in the back loops only and in continuous rounds. So if you want to, you can grab a different colored piece of yarn, or if you have a stitch marker or something. I have a different colored piece of yarn here. I'm just going to stick that right in the beginning of the round here just to mark my rounds. And it says to work in the back loops only. Now you don't have to do that, it just creates a little bit of texture. Here's the back loop here, so the loop that's furthest away from you is considered the back loop. Okay, the loop that's in front here is considered the front loop. And we usually go through both loops, just like this. So you can work through both loops, and that's totally fine, but I am going to work in the back loops only. So going into this first stitch, we're just going to single crochet around. Okay, so just put 1 single crochet into each of the stitches for 8 stitches for round 2. And we're going to just work in continuous rounds for rounds 2, 3, and 4. So you can see here I'm just working a little bit faster, but you can see that it creates that little line right there when we work in the back loop. Okay, so I'm going into the next stitch here in the back loop only and single crochet. And you can see that that line for those front loops is visible. Okay, and we're back to the beginning already. So now we're going to go on to the next round, moving the stitch marker up if we need to. We're going to go into the back loops of each stitch and just put a single crochet. And this is round 3 now. Okay, so I'm going to do that for rounds 3 and 4. And once I finish round 4, I'll come back and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, as you can see, here is round 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're back to the beginning. I'm going to go under both loops of this next stitch right here, and we're going to slip stitch to fasten this off. So yarn over and pull that through, and pull through the loop on your hook, and then chain 1, and we're going to cut our yarn kind of long for sewing. So I'm going to cut this a little bit longer and then pull it all the way through that chain 1 there and pull tight. And you can remove your stitch marker that we inserted if you used one. Okay, you can stick this little straggler inside of the ear because nobody's going to see that. Okay, kind of shape it and stretch it out and kind of flatten it. And that is one of the ears. So you need to make 2 of these, and once you have both of those done, we can sew them to the top of our cup cozy next. Alright, so I already made my other ear and I already sewed it on, so I'll show you how to do this one here. So we're going to yarn our needle, okay, with that long strand. Okay, and between your ears you want about 3 or 4 stitches free. Okay, so I sewed this one on. I'm gonna 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna sew it right to this one here. Okay, and you can obviously eyeball where you want it to go, closer or far away from your other ear. And what we're going to do is kind of whip stitch. So you can see I'm folding it down in front of my work, and we're gonna go in through this stitch on the cup cozy and then through the 2 layers of the ear. Okay, just like that, and pull. Oops. There we go. I lost my yarn on my needle here real quick. Okay, and we're just going to whip stitch this. So go into the next stitch here, into the next stitches on the ear, and pull. Okay, next stitch, and next stitch, pull, and last one's right here. Okay, and to fasten this off, I'm going to keep my finger in this last loop here, and then we're going to come back through this loop, okay, and then pull that through, and then let go and pull tight. And that creates a knot that is secure. And then we're going to straighten this up, make sure it looks good. Some of these like holes right in here might be a little distracting, so what I'm going to do is kind of go down into this piece and go back and forth just to kind of sew that closed, and it helps to weave in my end also. Okay, and then we want to weave in the rest of our end, just hide it in between some of the stitches here. Okay, just like that, and then you can cut any extra, stretch it out, make sure it looks good. Awesome. And there you have both ears on your cup cozy. So now we just have to make the face. So let's grab some black yarn. We're going to make the eyes and the nose. I'm going to use this With Love yarn. It's just a bunch of scrap yarn that I had left over from a previous project. So I'm going to just use black yarn for the eyes and the nose. And the same size hook, G hook. And we're just going to make a little tiny circle. Now you could use buttons if you wanted to have 3 black buttons, but I'm going to crochet this whole thing here. So we're going to chain 2. I made a slip knot already. Here's chaining 2, 1, whoops, and 2. And in that second chain we're just going to put 4 single crochets. So go into that second chain and make 4 single crochets. So 1, here's 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet. So if you need to count back, you can. Otherwise, go under both loops of the first single crochet stitch, yarn over and pull it through and through the loop on your hook. Chain 1, and we're going to again cut our yarn kind of long for sewing and pull it all the way through and pull tight. Okay, and then you kind of have to shape it a little bit to make it look more like a circle, but it should be a little mini circle like this. Okay, so make sure to make 3 of these, and once you have all 3 of those done, I will go on to the next step with you. Alright, once you have all 3 of those circles done, we're actually not going to sew them on yet. We're going to make the gray part behind the nose first, and then we'll sew these 3 on. So I'm going to set this aside and grab some dusty gray yarn. This is Red Heart Super Saver Dusty Gray, and I am going to make a slip knot. And the back of the nose portion is what we're going to make now. So to do that, we are going to chain 2, so yarn over, pull through 1 and 2. And in the second chain from the hook, we are going to put 6 single crochets. So go in to the second chain and make 6 single crochets. So 1, here's 2, whoopsie, here's 3, 4, 5, and 6. And again, just like the ear, we are going to work in continuous rounds and in the back loops only. You can work in both loops if you'd like. I am putting a stitch marker in my work right here. And in the second round, we are going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Again, back loop only here. So 1, go back into that back loop, and 2. So 1 and 2. Go into the next stitch, back loop here, make 2 single crochets in there. 1 and 2. Okay, next stitch, put 2 single crochets in there, and do that for each stitch around. At the end of this round you should have 12 single crochets all the way around, and I'm almost to the beginning, so you can just continue watching. We're going to go on to round 3 right now. So for round 3, let's move our stitch marker up. And for round 3, we're going to put 2 single crochets in the first stitch, so 1 and 2, and then we're just going to put 1 single crochet into the next stitch. 1. And repeat that sequence all the way around. So 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next. Then 2 in the next. Oopsie. Let's see here. 1 and 2, and then 1 in the next. Okay. At the end of round 3, you will have 18 single crochets, and I just have 2 more repeats to do, so you can just continue watching, and we'll be able to fasten this part off, and then we'll be able to sew everything to our cup cozy. So it's super simple here. Awesome. Okay, so when you're ready to fasten this off, I'm going to remove the stitch marker. We're going to go into the next stitch here under both loops, as you can see, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And then to fasten off, we're going to chain 1. We're going to cut this yarn long for sewing and pull that all the way through. Oops, my scissors. There we go. Okay, pull that all the way through and pull tight. And that is the back of the nose. So now bring your work forward, and we are going to sew all this on. So I'm going to move these away. Okay, we're going to position this piece, and you can kind of stretch this and kind of position it how you would want it to look on your cup cozy. So kind of make it an oblong shape. Kind of like that. Okay, we're going to grab our yarn needle, and we're going to sew this on. So using that long tail, we're going to go into the cup cozy with our hand, so we're not sewing the cup cozy closed. And we're just going to go in to the cup cozy and then out. Oops. Okay, go in and out. And just sew it right in the center of your work, just like that. Okay, and once I have this sewn on, we can sew on the eyes and the nose, and then the last thing we're going to do is embroider the mouth. So you want to fasten off on the inside of your work here, so I'm just going to go underneath a couple of loops here, keep my finger in this loop, and then come back through that loop there, and then pull that tight, and that creates a knot. And then you could just sew this in between the layers of the gray and the white, and it will be hidden completely. Okay, and that is sewn on. We can cut any extra that we have. And what I ended up doing off camera is sewing on one eye and the nose. So this is the position it should be in. So I'm going to show you sewing on the other eye right here. Okay, so you can sew these on yourself, and I'll just show you real quick how I'm sewing these on here. I'm taking the straggler in the back of the work. Okay, so don't sew that in or anything. We're just going to use that to knot it later. Okay, and kind of position it. Hold your thumb over it. Grab your yarn needle. Yarn your needle with the long strand for sewing. Okay, make sure they're even. It's not like lopsided eyes or anything. Looks good. And we're going to just go in and out just like we sewed the nose part to the face here. Just going in and out. Okay, and I'm going a little faster for the cam, but you can obviously take your time so that it doesn't look lopsided or wonky or anything. Okay, once it's sewed on, we're going to go to the back here and tie these 2 strands into a knot. Okay, and then we're going to take these strands, I'm going to sew in the one that I already have yarned on my needle, and I'm just going to go underneath and kind of just wrap it between the 2 layers, the black and the white. And then take the other strand, yarn my needle with that one, and do the same thing. Sew that in underneath the strands, and then take my scissors and cut any extra, and there they are, sewn on. Awesome. Now I just want to embroider a mouth, so we're going to grab some black yarn, and this part can kind of get tricky, but I try to do my best with embroidering. I try to take my time. And we're going to start from the inside. So we yarned our needle with the black yarn. Alright, and we're just going to push it through to the front, just like this. Okay, and we're going to come down to about halfway and then come back out at the bottom where we want our mouth to be. Right about here. Okay, try to make sure it's straight. Looking good. Okay, and then we want to go one way and then the other way and then back up. So we're going to come through here like this, and then go into the yarn. So go back into this yarn right here, and you can see I'm going into the black. Okay, and pull. Okay, and then come back through this part right here, again in through the black yarn. It's going to be kind of tricky. There it is. Right in through the black yarn, and pull, and then do the same thing on this side. And this really just gives your little polar bear a little bit of character. You can make it smile really big or small or whatever. Then come back through to the center here. I know it's difficult to see, but there we go. Right through the center there. And then we're going to come back up through the top here. So go into the black yarn. Oops, I had it. There we go. And into the inside. Oh my gosh, how cute! Alright, so now we're going to flip this to the inside here. And this is attached to the ball of yarn right here, so I'm going to trim that. And we're going to take these 2 strands and tie them in a knot in the back of our work. Just like that. And then we're going to sew those in between the 2 layers of the gray and white of our piece. I'm just going to sew them in just right back here, just a little bit. Easy does it, and trim any extra. Oops. My scissors have been giving me issues. I gotta sharpen these. There we go. And there is your cup cozy. You can stretch it out, make it look really good, and there's your polar bear. So now you can enjoy a nice cup of coffee with this on your travel mug. You can make a bunch of these and give them away as gifts. add some like a mug with this cup cozy and put some hot cocoa inside. It's just a really good gift idea, and it's super cute for the holidays. So thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this cute little cup cozy. If you want to check out all the materials and the free written pattern on YARNutopia, the links are all in the description of this video. Big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing the yarn for this project today. This is so quick and easy. And big thank you to my dad back there over my shoulder for filming this tutorial and editing it and posting it up on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube by clicking subscribe and then hitting the bell so you can get the update and get the notification when we post our next video. Alright guys, until next time, happy hooking!